feminism in the Black community. We all actually, Jock. I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a particular. I don't want to say a pet peeve, but you had some things to say as far as this topic. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it. I feel like you had an intro in mind, or do you want to just hop in straight?
Well, I was going. Yeah. Excuse me. I was going to say that we all heard that. Was that I'm a strong Black independent woman. I don't need no man for anything type of stereotype that's out there. So I think it was a conversation with Alex that the blame can be placed on government assistance welfare, I believe.
Hmm.
So with government assistance and welfare, that takes the man out of the household. So that's where that came from. I don't know. That kind of blew my mind. I never thought about it. It sounds like it's like common sense. Like, of course, is that. But before we get to Jack, Alex, would you like to elaborate?
Sure. I'll elaborate a little bit. The main premise of it is when you reward people to do XYZ thing, don't be surprised when they try and game a system in order to get XYZ reward. So like the welfare program and things of that nature, removing the father from the household or the center of the household and kind of just breaking down the entire family structure, just weakens family household / our entire culture in general. We're a lot weaker, obviously, and we're divided, especially amongst ourselves, than we are when we're together at a family household. You're a lot more easily manipulated when you're separated, things of that nature. So it's nothing unique or special in this ballpark category in comparison to anything else. So even when you're looking at like society right now with science and how science has now become politicized and things of that nature, it's hard to break people down and break people apart to have all these different ideologies and fight against each other in the way we do now, versus when people are actually united and share like a common base or a common core. So looking at it from, I wouldn't say the beginning, but a couple hundred years ago per se, and the breakdown of the Black family household and the removal of the father from the household, in lieu of government assistance such as welfare or just even how badly skewed our entire system is against men and family courts and things of that nature, and how so many men can be taken to the cleaners when you get down the path of anything with family custody or children battles, things like that. So before, the man was the center piece of that to kind of keep everything together, the financial standpoint of that all. But the removal of that and then the addition of having all of these programs to aid the opposite half, in this case, women, in this standpoint, to give that sort of assistance, give that sort of financial help, remove the man from that center point or one of his main reasons, which will be providing for his family. It's no longer needed because Big Daddy government is here to save you. And the more people rely on Big Daddy government to save you, the more they grow in power and the easier it is for them to get you to do things you probably never would have done beforehand. That's when the manipulation can begin.
Okay. Jack, what was your
Uh, Damn, that was a lot, Alex. We need to double click on that in a second. Oh,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's a lot to unpack.
that was a lot.
It's a
Yeah,
pretty
that
big
was,
topic.
He said unzip it. He's over here like, all
Yeah.
right.
it was all the stuff like hadn't really thought about. I don't agree with all of it, but I think like nothing you said is wrong. I think there's just things that need to be added to it, if that makes sense. Like there's
Yeah.
like things to add to.
Let me
to that.
let me give a first starting point and we can kind of build from there. Because this is something we can still look around with how things are going now, but also relates because a lot of the times when I have conversations with Dante, I always say, hey, like a lot of the things we deal with in life are all connected. Like there's a connection piece to everything we deal with, whether you see it or not. So the biggest thing that I want to talk about that we can kind of use as a springboard to go forward is how we choose to or what we choose to incentivize or reward. So for example, the starting point in, let's say, child custody battles and child support. Most child support payments, unbeknownst to anyone who probably would argue of this, is men paying child support to women. And with that, there is an incentive, or should I say, what's the technical word?
There's an incentive, or it's
Incentive. I was saying
incentivized.
incentivize. Yeah, just trying to figure out the verb tense of, but there's an incentive to go ahead and you don't even have to be married in order to actually even get child support. Check your state laws and
Not
things
at all.
like that. But regardless of that, there is an incentive for the opposite gender, in this case, for the women, to be able to stay with a guy for X amount of years in order to extract resources from him, in some cases forever. And that's an incentive that is there that should not have been there to begin with, but this is unfortunately how humans operate. Same thing with the COVID vaccinations and things like that. We'll just kind of tie this together real quick as the core point. When states started to incentivize people saying you can win $1 million or we'll pay you to get your vaccination, it was kind of ludicrous because the incentive should be you don't die or you don't catch COVID. But that wasn't good enough for people. So they started giving out money for it. So you're going to have a group of people that will grow. Eventually, if it's not here now, they're just going to wait until they get some sort of extra incentive in order to get their vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how you choose to reward people that will dictate their behavior. It is a huge function behind it. So we can start there, John.
Money.
Yeah, the child support angle it's a tough one because like the incentive to abuse it and to take advantage of it is so high and so real, and it's like things that like people don't realize happen, right? So the other day I blew my friend's mind. I told him like so we're talking about how like a lot of girls in Miami, like they're all about the money, like all they care about is money. And okay, long story short, I ended up explaining to him that like ball players, a lot of them, like rich basketball players, like football players, they have to like flush their condoms after they hook up with someone because girls will literally go in the trash and then impregnate themselves with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it blew his mind. Like he had never heard of that. He didn't knew that was a thing. But then he's like, yeah, that's the thing. That's a real thing. And like as a guy, I almost wonder if like having money is one of the worst things that can happen to you for your dating life in a certain capacity. Because the kind of people that you start to attract and the way that like because it's not even transactional, right? Like because so a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like she's with me for my money, and they're like, but everything's still transaction. It's like, no, you're really kind of being squeezed. You know, like you're like a cow that's being milked. Is way closer to what it is. Because like transactional would imply an exchange of value, but in reality, you're just bleeding value. You know, so. But then there's the other angle, which is, if a guy steps out and has a kid and does not contribute to that child's life, that's also a big issue. Which this is where like these things get like so bizarre. So like the original idea of like when you get divorced that you have to pay your ex-wife like all this money was partly because this was back in an era when like women weren't expected to be able to take care of themselves. And so when you would divorce with someone, especially if you had kids, financially you could ruin them without some kind of like law that would legally oblige you to financially support them. But now we have this situation where it's like it's like the law behaves as if women are still helpless and completely unable to take care of themselves, which isn't necessarily true. And in a lot of cases, at least like in those like marriage situations, a lot of cases, it's like there's no real reason for that like wild. I mean, like when like super rich people get divorced and get dragged to court, and like it's just that's when you understand like, okay, this law doesn't make sense and this law is kind of outdated, and it's also something you can play very easily. And the thing is like, how would you, right? So like from a legal perspective, right, how would you be able to distinguish between someone who is just abusing the law for financial gain?
So you have to question, why are the cards so stacked up against men or black men, whatever case may be? Like,
my big theory is that these are laws that did not evolve with society. Like these are
Right.
laws that like were in place when like, because if you go back a few hundred years, like the power discrepancy in a marriage between man and woman. I mean, like there was a time when like you could literally beat your wife and that was like expected and accepted. Like the dad would literally like expect you, you know what I mean? Like imagine like you marry your daughter off to someone and like you literally expect this guy to discipline her by beating her. So there was definitely like those laws were more proportional to those times to kind of safeguard women and the children. Now,
This is being abused.
huh?
Now it's just being abused.
Yeah, now it's just being abused.
I was like, I was saying, let me steal the spotlight for you one
All right,
sec.
go ahead.
Just to answer something from
I
earlier.
don't say nothing, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. You can sit down and be quiet.
All right, that's
so
cool.
so the part you're saying is like why the law is that way, and then it got me thinking as you're saying that, and I was like, well, the easiest way to think of it, I think, is like for example, anyone who's been out to the club has heard of something like women's night or ladies night, or ladies getting for free until blah 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 time, right? And then most guys probably at this point in age would be like, how come we don't get it for free? Like, don't no one give us nothing for free, right? But then you have to realize business wise, in a sense, the spot that has the most women will attract the most men. And men are the ones
we'll
who pay
get them
for the
to
things
spend.
to spend
Yeah.
on them, which furthers the establishment as a whole. In the same token, you can probably think of it in the sense of if you can control the women, you have control over the men.
Exactly.
But that's
And
controlling women, so it's frowned upon. You can't say that, Alex.
well, the thing, they're controlled in so many ways already.
Yeah, right.
Like, have you been on any form of social media ever?
Yeah,
all of them
like,
been made by
you
a
know
man.
how easy it would be for a guy just to be like, huh, I want to see a bunch of girls naked.
Do you guys
Let me
want to
make
bring
some
up
random
OnlyFans
challenge,
and how
then
that
you
guy
just have a
is
challenge to it.
like no, you want to talk about you want to bring up controlling women, Dante. Let's talk about OnlyFans and how that guy like wants. What did he say? Like a third of women
He
to be on
said
OnlyFans by like
50% of women that are 30 years old be on
what's a
OnlyFans.
full percent? Jesus Christ!
I thought it was higher than that.
Like
I said I don't know. It's maybe 70. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think it was around the 70s. He was saying in the future.
you know what I mean? And it's like you want to talk about controlling women? Like OnlyFans has got to be one of the most bizarre exploits I've ever seen.
Exploit.
I'd say
It's kind of
social
an
media,
exploit.
but
Yeah, because it's basically
works.
social media, but then like this guy's racking up a ton of money. It's
Racking up a ton. He racking up all the money.
he's racking up so much money.
And these
And
people
then-
are just eating it up.
Oh my god! And then like the supposed ban on porn at one point. God, that whole situation was such a mess. But anyways, I think so. Alex brings up a great point, which is like women are often used to control men, especially from a financial perspective. Another like tangent I was going to bring up with divorces too is that like divorce lawyers are fucked up people.
We know.
Like they will drag out because it's like the lawyer gets a cut of like whatever like the settlement is, and so divorce lawyers will like bring guys to the washer literally just to like pat
Just
their
to make
pockets.
more.
It's the whole system is
That's
messed
why
up.
there's a joke. There's always a joke with lawyers. Like there's an ongoing joke with lawyers.
That they all go to hell.
That's just an ongoing joke. Like it's not a funny one, but it's just how it is.
Oh, divorce lawyers especially. But yeah, the club thing. So the club example is actually a great example, and let's actually bring it back to feminism in the Black community because I feel like we got weirdly almost off topic for a second there. But there is definitely a sense that people, especially women, are being manipulated by media for profit, like literally just for profit. You know, like a lot of times it's like trends will start that are helping no one except companies line their pocket. A lot of times it's detrimental to women, especially Black women, who I guess it's time for me to bring up my point. I think as far as feminism is concerned, Black women got the shortest end of the stick. It's not even funny. And I think one of the things that people forget is that right now, especially, feminism is generally kind of like a white thing. Like, by and large, it's gonna be like a lot. Like, it's changing a little bit, but especially at the beginning, it was mostly white women.
I mean, like on the front lines of the movement or
Who
empowerment.
owned it, made the rules, made the decisions, all of that. It was mostly white women doing things for white women. And they kind of, forgot about, like, black women got forgotten. And the thing is that, like, I don't actually think that's that much of an accident, because people also forget that plenty of white women were openly racist at one point. Like the example I like to bring up is, like, do you guys remember the era when, like, you would see, like, someone's, like, Tinder profile or so? No, this is before Tinder. This is
oh my god, I know exactly where you're going with this one.
They would be like, yeah, I don't date black guys. It's like black guys don't apply this and that. And, like, it's not like those women disappeared when they became feminists. You know what I mean? Like, they stayed racist, which is why
they faded out of existence as soon as they became.
You know what I mean?
They wanted
as soon as Obama became president, they were no longer racist.
Oh my god! Yeah, I mean, once being openly racist was no longer, like, a tasteful thing to do, they, like, they stopped saying those things. But do you think, like, that stopped them from, like, excluding, from, like, not giving a shit about black women when they were coming up with all their like, when they had, like, their movement, right? Because, like, for a while, like, feminism was really, I would say, like, around, like, maybe, like, the 2015, probably, like, from, like, 2012 to, like, 2016-ish, it was mostly just, like, a movement by white women for white women, and black women just got forgotten and excluded. And I think that's not a coincidence, because, like, that's something people forget, is that, like, you can be a feminist and totally be a racist. You know what I mean? Like, you can be, right? And a lot of them are, and I think part of the reason why that happened was because I think, like, there was an element of racism to how black women got, like, forgotten and left behind,
Kenny.
Yeah, you've been kind of quiet.
What's up, you've been sitting there being so patient.
No, I mean, I don't be rude. Yeah, y'all basically hit everything that needs to be said. Like, I got nothing else to say. I'm just over here like, yeah, he right.
I concur. I concur.
Too.
I concur.
Yeah, but it you're like, back to what you're talking about. You're an independent woman. You don't need no man. Blah blah blah. The funny thing about that, about hearing that at this age now now, I'm like, wait, I never was told, hey, I'm an independent black man. I don't need no anything like that. So I was like,
yeah, maybe like,
I was like, the fuck?
A Metal Gear Solid question mark. Huh?
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, I never heard that. Like, I remember hearing when I was young, like, yo, make friends, because friends are gonna, they're gonna help you, push you further in life. But for them, it's like, oh, independent black woman, you don't need no man.
And what was crazy, because the women who do have that mentality, they flock to the other ones.
The other ones
with that same mentality.
It's
like a flock of,
and they all become a bunch of crows, just vultures, just eating that shit just at the same damn time. Like, like, one man goes down there like, I'm hungry. That's how it goes. Like it's no, you know what? I don't even mean to go down. One man goes down. One man says something that was a little bit upsetting or something. Just like, I'm hungry. And he ain't shit. His daddy ain't shit.
Oh my god!
It's just like, where does all this energy come from? We don't give this.
It's like, where are y'all learning this?
Yeah, where are y'all getting that? Like,
but they get it from their mom. From their mom.
A lot of it, yeah.
And a lot of
generational curses and whatnot.
Right. And I remember back in the days, I think it was when we were like, maybe I said it when I was like 24, 25. I don't remember. I was real young. And I told you, I think it was 24, 22 or some shit. And I changed it up. I told you, yeah, I don't want to really date a woman that doesn't have a father, like doesn't know who the father is.
Mhm.
And I was telling them, Alex was like, I think Alex was like, said back then, he was like, yo, that's kind of a messed up mentality, yo.
I was like, hey, let's unpack this for a little bit though. Like, if that's how you feel, that's cool, but let's talk about this.
Yeah,
Why do you
like,
feel that way?
And I was just like, yeah, every time their mind ain't right. Like, it's just not right.
Daddy issues is a thing.
Yeah, daddy issues.
That's why you hear it so often. It's not a coincidence of not having a father and you have father issues.
Yeah,
it's not unique to only
issues.
Yeah, it's not unique to women either. There's mommy issues on the guy's side as well, or daddy issues.
Oh yeah,
or
daddy
issues as well. Like a
Yeah.
lack of responsibility or lack of being able to push forward to do things. Like
the funny thing is, my parents weren't married. They split apart because of some stuff. Oh, because my dad didn't want to get married at some time period, whatnot. So, but the thing that they kept in mind was like, hey, we're not gonna let this affect our kids. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have that, that type of daddy issues. I knew where my dad was. I knew where my mom was. Yeah, they were in a whole different state, but I knew where they were, and I could talk to them when I need be. And that was like the one thing I have to say I respect. I was happy about my family is that my family wasn't like, separated, like, oh wow, his daddy ain't and everything like that. Like Dante posted up a post in our chat. It was about the man. It was with like, I want to get married. Man gets married. I want to have kids. Okay, all these things happen.
The little stick figure thing.
He working. And I looked at that. And I was looking at that, and I wanted to post it.
She robbed him blind.
I wanted to post it, but I knew it was gonna spark some shit. I don't feel like dealing with that stuff anymore.
Where'd you put it at? Let me see.
It's in Messenger.
Yeah,
it's like the guy.
Messengers.
It's like the guy he has a family.
He has a
gets
family.
A job.
He works his butt off. Like he was working, and then he comes home. He's burnt. Like you can see the little squigglies from like the Sims tire thing over his head. And like he's burnt, and she over here just yelling at him like. Bro.
And then I guess because he's working so much, she steps out of the relationship and then gets knocked up by like another man or something.
Chad.
And then they go, and then it's like a whole. And she go to social media and vent on social media. Everybody sympathizing with her.
Yeah. I remember seeing this before. Yeah, this is because a lot of the times this is the side that that isn't talked about. Like the men's struggle isn't talked about because it's all solely put on the woman and what women want. And how almost all their desires are met.
Yeah, like it's. I find it
interesting. What it
costs
to meet the desires.
It costs a man's sanity, and it's like And like I was telling like women don't know. They think they're the worst off. Women don't know the highest divorce rate. I mean, the highest suicide is men. We are the highest. The highest suicide. The highest. And it's like, oh, we don't ask questions. They just killing each other, killing themselves because XYZ. Like they don't understand the damage it does to have like for a man to lose their kids. Like
a lot of guys kill themselves
because
after or during divorce.
Like
because it's that rough. Like it's that bad.
It's like, but there is a I don't know if it was the study, but I heard from somebody or something like that men that survive the divorce and get through the divorce, they end up becoming way more financially wealthy over time because they don't have to deal with the
that's the obvious one.
Yeah, because they don't have to deal with the wife. Because most of the time your money is getting taken away by your wife. It's not you.
I mean, if you let her.
I mean, if you let her, right?
We're gonna have separate checkbooks.
Separate bank accounts. But the thing is that
I'm never doing joint bank accounts.
The thing is about that is that it's kind of interesting how I see most the Black independent women spend their money. It's not smart in the slightest way. It's not. Like they are reckless with their money, yo.
Let's be fair to Black people in general. We're kind of notorious for being really bad with money. Like,
Yeah, we are.
that's like a
yeah.
racial thing. That's
definitely
not
within
even
our
gender.
culture in America.
Yeah, that is a racial thing. Like, we're just bad. We're known to be bad with money.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't. I don't. I get out of that mentality of, I don't like spending money, like, at all. Like, I'll be trying to find out different ways to not spend money. That's just me. I'll be like, hey, like, because I had to get my oil change. I'm like, I was thinking to myself the whole week, because I remember I told Alex, I was like, yeah, man, I gotta get an oil change. And I was like, yo, is there somebody I know that can give me an oil change, bro? And I was like, oh, snap, my boy. So I called him up because I'm like, listen, I will pay him like $50 to change my oil, then pay that $100 to get my oil changed.
All right, so first of all, it definitely don't cost $100.
No.
Well,
It's
it
how
depends.
my car is. Remember, I
Your
have
car
a
costs
sports car.
$100.
If
Yeah,
it's high
it has
mileage,
synthetic, and it has synthetic
Yeah.
oil in it.
Depending on where you go, it could cost around that. All right, but let's tie that back into originally the main talking point today, feminism in the Black community.
Right. Yeah,
So this
right.
does tie into it though, and this is how I'm gonna tie it in. So what you did was you went to seek help in your community as to who can help you. And obviously back in the day, there's a greater sense and importance of community for people to help out. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You specialize in this, I specialize in that. We get together and we have a sense of community. And obviously that is for the most part gone within our community. And feminism has definitely not helped that out in any sort of way and has increased the divide, not only between men and women, but between Black men and Black women as well, because each had their respective role to play in that sort of society and in that sort of community. So in older times, you wouldn't even have to stress like that. You have already known someone down the street who could have did that for you or would have had you on the schedule.
Right.
But we don't have communities like that anymore. And unfortunately, feminism has put more divides in front of us than it has in ways to bring us together in our community.
okay.
Yeah, the man hating thing is real, and like in the Black community.
I was
Like,
Yeah,
it's bad.
how everything works now in the Black community. Like, I was talking to my sister about like how raising kids, and she wants me to raise kids and with people of my race or around family and stuff like that. And I'm just like, and in my head, I'm like, do I really want to do that?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea.
It's a
I
good
think
question.
it just depends on the people in particular that you have them around.
yeah,
It's more
depends on
that
community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
more
like-
that than
and that's why I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Like, do I really want to do that? And it's just like, and I was like, I was thinking like, man, I could raise a kid in the Filipino community or whatnot. And she was like, no, that he's gonna get he or she is gonna get bullied or talked about and stuff like that. And I'm like,
well, that's probably gonna happen anyway.
that's what I'm like. It's like it's
Yeah.
just gonna
That happens to all
happen either
kids.
way. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm like, as long as the kid can get through life, and once what I want from my kid is to have that same community as Filipino. Yo, they are the most locked niche of people I've ever met in my life. Like, they are locked. Like, it's like, bro, I got you, you got me, no problems. That's it.
dope.
And that's why I'm like, yo, I mess with the I ain't trying to say the other word, but I mess with the Filipino community, yo. Like,
But yeah, I mean, like bullying, like it's just
it's gonna happen. It's just
yeah.
it's just kids.
I got
It's
bullied.
kids
I got
being
bullied by
kids.
my own people.
I mean,
they did me dirty.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
whatever.
talk about that though. Let's
Nah,
talk
that
about
needs to be
the-
a whole separate
Different
cast.
topic. That is a
No,
whole
no,
separate
no,
topic.
Sorry. That sounded wrong. No, I was going to talk about like. So let's talk about like the actual process of raising kids and like decisions you have to make, right, around race and your partner and those sort of decisions, right? So, like,
That's still a whole different topic.
It does sound like a whole different topic.
okay, fine.
Other
Okay,
than
we're gonna.
feminism, like-
He said,
So
okay, fine.
Dante,
back
write
to
that down.
back to feminism. Feminism, honestly, in Black feminism, that whole Black independent woman things, it's literally ruin. It's for any woman that watches or anything like that. Y'all literally, if y'all follow that, y'all honestly ruining yourselves in the future. If y'all are into that.
I thought I would go somewhere else.
No. It's
looking like.
Y'all's literally
I mean, you
ruining.
could elaborate.
You're literally ruining yourself in the future. Because there was a video I sent to Alex. I don't know if he watched it yet, but it was a Filipino woman who was talking about Western women in general, and she was talking about MGTOW, like I guess MGTOW, blue pill, red pill. MGTOW men or stuff like that fit better with Asian women. They just fit better with Asian women because
Did not see that coming.
Because how their ideals work. How they think. They just like, oh yeah, it's like how they think. Because it's like most men like just like, yo, I just want you to take care of the kids. I just want to go to work, make this bread, come home, and just chill. My wife does that. She's Asian. I make this money. I come home. I spend time with her for a little bit, and I sit my butt down on this computer and I play my game. She don't say a damn word.
So I think to help you elaborate some of that is the gender roles are still upheld.
So yeah, the gender
each side
roles
understands what needs to be done.
They still understand the gender roles of what they need to be done, and that's
I'm gonna throw some chaos. I'm gonna throw a little bit of chaos into this real quick. Here's my thing with gender roles. I think, except for a couple of things that are sort of like physically bound, you can kind of just say roles, right? So the other day I was on the phone with a guy who's a stay-at-home dad, right? And his wife, I forget what his wife does. I think she was a doctor or something, but like she is like the breadwinner and is like makes bread, right? And we're talking about how like he kind of like doesn't really like it, but how he's also like very lucky to be in that position, and how like, so okay, I feel like I'm dragging this out a little too much. Essentially what I'm trying to say is there's a negotiation element to relationship and coupling that I think people they need help with, because it's not an easy negotiation. It's not clear what you guys are going to need or want, and society in a lot of ways has helped people, especially with things like religion and sort of like, you know, set gender roles and like what is expected of people in a marriage. It sort of helped people kind of like walk into those relationships with understanding of what trades are you making with each other for each other, so that you can have a partnership and collaborate. Now, what happens once you no longer have to follow those, you now have to do those negotiations manually. And I think that's where a lot of men and women are having these fights, because they expect different things from each other. And it's actually a non-negotiable matter. It's like, if you want like Kenny's situation, you're not gonna get that from like an independent Black woman.
I think the biggest thing with it, honestly, and we'll use another example. So I like giving people examples to latch onto. Think about a rebel force who wants to overthrow their government. Their government's a dictatorship. They're tired of it. They decide to overthrow it. They succeed. But now they're the ones in charge that need to place in a new government. Before, things were still functioning and working. Whether it was amazing and great for the people isn't the question. The fact is, things worked. Things worked in the relationship scheme where there are men and female roles. They worked. Everyone knew what their job or role was. It was good. Now there is no longer a government in order to abide by the rules that were set in place before. There is now no structure. And when you leave humans in an area where there is no structure, chaos thrives. And generally, when that happens, nobody is happy and nobody is a winner. What we're looking at in my eyes is the fact that we rebelled against the government structure that worked before in the past, and now there is no structure. So now people have to fend for their own. But this is the first time people have fended for their own in this type of fashion, because traditionalism was the government structure at hand, and it is now no longer. That is why people can't speak out to say, I am traditional, because it is not the norm right now in this government regime to say such a thing. So they can't say or speak out against it because in general, when you look at men or women, women are the ones who are more controlled and influenced by the societal norms. Men in general don't care and do their own thing, which is why you need to control the women to loop the men in, because men will always do their own thing. So the long story short of it is the old time has now passed, so we're entering the new time and nobody knows what the new time has. So there's
But everyone has this, but everyone is trying to grab power.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're in the power vacuum.
And a power struggle.
Yep.
So that was a entertaining episode of Blerd Initiative.
That went everywhere.
It's okay though. Well, yeah.
It's such an interconnected topic too.
It's a pretty massive topic to try and breach into one podcast. Like we would actually need to plot out a
part point. 2. Thank you, Jock, Alex, Kenny, for your input in.
Bro, I ain't say shit.
No, you said some stuff, and I enjoyed your conversation. Stay tuned for like, subscribe, follow Instagram.
Yeah, you got it.
Facebook, Twitter, Spotify.
There you go. Google,
Apple Play.
Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube,
MySpace.
Wherever you see a fish with some gold on it like this, hit that like button. For those who
that one more time, just make sure you guys know.
No, for those who is not seeing us on YouTube, hopefully y'all know what the logo is, but it's Blerd Initiative. Follow, like, and subscribe. Because I realized as I was saying it, like there's some people who's probably not gonna like watch the YouTube. They probably gonna go to Spotify or something. But
maybe.
So stay tuned for episode 3. Topic is not decided yet, but I'll let y'all know. We'll figure it out when we get there next Sunday.
We had a couple of winners though.
But so
next Sunday is gonna be a late one Sunday for me because I'm gonna be off that Monday.
Oh, nice.
Gonna be up and ready.
Up, ready, and ready.